Overwatch 2's escort maps are a staple of the game. They host some of the oldest maps as well as the most iconic. Players love them, players hate them. I'm here today to discuss why people still enjoy these maps despite the huge flaws, as well as discuss why these maps are so horrendously designed and a burden left over from Overwatch 1's design. Why do people like escort maps? They're really old, they've been a staple of the game for such a long time that it's almost hard to even acknowledge the fact that they might be bad because they've been here for 6 years. They're also super easy to understand. There's a clear choke, there's a clear point you have to walk through, there's a payload you have to move, you can always tell where the fight's gonna be, you can always tell where to hold, what angle to shoot. It's a very easy way to play the game. And don't get me wrong, this is not like an insult at all, but casual players typically enjoy the simplicity and the not needing to think. You'd much rather, if you're just trying to vibe out and have a good time, play a map that you've played a million times, you know how it works, it's really straightforward, you just hold a choke and you just kind of shoot people. You don't have to think as much. You're not there trying to sweat the game, trying to hit the highest rank possible, trying to you don't enjoy the intense thinking that another player might. And casual players take up such a large majority of the player base that it just makes sense that it seems like loads of people love escort maps because casuals like them because they're simple. And then casual players are like 80% of the people that play the game. I completely made up that stat. There is absolutely no way to prove how many people are casual. Also, escort maps have been around for so long. If you like Overwatch and you started playing Overwatch and enjoying Overwatch, you have to enjoy escort maps. Somewhat. You have to enjoy it to at least a very small degree, just because they've always been there. As in, I can't come out here and say, since the beginning I've hated all these payload maps, because then I wouldn't have enjoyed the game if half the time I hated it. So that's kind of where the like comes from. I think these maps are also just because they're so old and iconic and classic, a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia or a lot of, oh, I can't hate the old map. Or we've built such a bubble where it's you can't diss King's Row, even though a lot of problems. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things like that where you just can't diss it. If you ever look at a TikTok account, rank the maps, you just seriously your brain will implode. But I know a lot of people that are watching this and watch me are casual, and you're entitled to your own opinions. I'm just discussing why people like the map. We're gonna now move on why people dislike it, including myself. First of all, playing payload and escort maps is playing choke watch. You're not playing Overwatch, you're playing a choke game. It is so frustrating just to play choke over and over again. What do I mean by this? I mean, every single point and fight takes place on this one narrow choke where there's no options to do anything other than fight a choke, and that is just not a fun way to play Overwatch. It's not even how Overwatch should be played. It's like a brick wall that you just keep having to bash your head into and hope that it eventually breaks so that you can walk forward and actually take space. It's so bad, and some of them are so egregious to need a specific team comp that it just feels awful to play for some characters. And also, not that I play that much support anymore, chokes feel even worse for support because it's I literally can't do anything yet. You are literally just watching your team try get through a choke and you can't do anything yet. There's no space for you as a support to take. There's no way for you to pressure the front line off. You just have to wait. And I think that just is so unfun. I think having no choice instantly kills all the fun and the competitiveness from a game mode and a map. Part of this is the lack of flank routes, because oh my god, trying to take an angle anywhere and flank round, get to the back line, any of that is just impossible on 99% of these maps. It's actually so difficult. I don't know how many of you people play Tracers. Tracer, again, these are popular characters. Even characters like Cassie want to do this. May wants to do this. And you think about Hollywood first, is what in my head. It's choke and then little narrow doorway. The strategy on Tracer is to essentially waste all of your blinks to blink through the room, into the mini room, past the point, and then wrap around into the two-story room, if you know what I mean. It's horrid. And if you counter a Venture, another Tracer, or a Cassidy, or a Junkrat, or a May, literally most of the characters, you kind of just die, and you have to just go for it, or you have to triple blink through main towards the mega at the back, and then set up from there. It's actually ridiculous. You just can't do anything. It just feels terrible. And then the next thing, I'm only talking about attack. Defense feels just as bad. Why? How are these maps designed where attack feels hard and defense feels difficult? Tracer and defense Hollywood. Now what do you do? Actually, what do you do? The way I and a lot of people will play Hollywood Tracer is to essentially just wait for the people to walk through the choke, then go. You can't fight them yet. You have to it's like this really awkward. Can I shoot? I can't shoot. It's like so bad. It's just bad. It's just terrible. And I know this is very Tracer Sombra specific, but I even find this difficult when characters like Ashe and Cassidy. It feels like you just can't quite do it. Like you can't quite play properly yet until they walk through the choke and a fight actually happens. It's bad. Alright, I can yap all I want about what's wrong with the maps, and, how I hate the chokes, but why do that and then not offer any solution? So we're going to sit down and we're going to go through some maps. You might find this part a little different than the other part. This is just going to be a bit more of a little chat over these maps, and I'll suggest some solutions, right? So first off, I want to look at everyone's favorite map. Apparently everyone's favorite map, King's Row, which is a map I don't mind, but I do think has a lot of flaws that have especially become more and more prominent in Overwatch 2. But I also think it's one of the easier maps to fix. Now, I think a lot of the map has some issues, but I think past the first point is at least a little more manageable. I think second point's okay because you actually have this whole second side of the map here, right on the left. Like there's another route, and you can technically go up here as well. And I think this second point is actually pretty good. It doesn't use chokes as much as it uses a lot of small ones on corners, and I think corners are fine. Corners, I have no problem with corners. There's not a single long sight line, so breaking the chokes doesn't feel that bad. I think overall this is really good. Third point, however, I think would benefit a lot from if you were to move the staircase like over here instead, and then instead you have a little room here that comes out and links to this one. I think if that existed, this would be a little more manageable. You could actually have a little bit of a flank going here. You could, with a team, get a full Ryan Lucio comp to take up the height here. I think it's a little more manageable. It also enables the defenders to take a little space here and pressure from here without having to be Sombra, Tracer, or like maybe Farah, because otherwise you can't really get out once you're here. But I would like the idea of you just can walk that way and go there, but the stairs are over here. I think that would be very beneficial for third. I think this is awkward, but again, manageable. I think a crazy take would be if you were to bridge a platform from here to here. There's a little open door. It's still quite open and exposed, and there's not much cover. Maybe add a little cover to this spot right there. But otherwise, I think it would just be nice for it to deepen a little more and not feel as threatened here. You could even have an elevator up to here if you want. Like, I know we love this hole for people falling in it, but if there's like an elevator from there up here, I think that would also be a big addition. I think King's Row is very simple, and I just don't know. I think they just don't want to do anything to it because people like the map already. But because it is actually quite a good map, it just needs a little final tweaks to make it like more manageable. So elevator on third point, move the stairs to the left a little bit and link that path over here. That's third point in my opinion. I don't think there's much more you to do third, and you can leave second as it is. First is interesting. First is very much just this choke. Yes, you can go up here, but this is only accessible to characters, I think, like Sombra, Tracer, Genji, because otherwise, to get any value out of this angle, you have to drop and fight from like here. And even then, this is out of range for Tracer and Sombras, and even Genji, so this is still not a great angle. And so you have to deepen, and no character can do that safely without dying, apart from like Tracer and Sombra. So I like it and I understand it. I just think it doesn't make much sense. I would much prefer also if the door was here. Now, I don't know if this could have been tested before and somehow didn't work, but I would prefer the door here. I think it also means as a defender, you have a little more room there. You can actually access the mega, you can actually do some stuff, and also you don't have to climb all these stairs if you ever want to take this flank. It also means you don't have to commit as hard, because you can kind of be here and go do, you can then come back around and do. I think that would be a lot better. I would also actually, this is crazy, I would enjoy a flank route on this left. I would like it if there was a way to add a door here that links over to that side. Now this might be a bit crazy, as it just gives immediate hotel control. Counter argument, if you just put a brig or a tracer or a castle, any character in the game here, you can then access this angle, and then you have a free sightline to kill the people here. It goes both ways. You've got to understand, when you do stuff to maps, if you look at it from one perspective, it looks broken, but when you look from the other perspective, it seems insane. Like, imagine you could just walk over there and be here. Like, imagine if you could just walk over here and shoot these people. But imagine if you were this person and you could go this way and then take hotel. I think that'd be good. So, King's Row first. Add a door here. You can keep the window and balcony if you want, but add a door here to link to the room, and add a door here. That's it. I think the game already has the flank routes. They're just kind of difficult to get to initially. You have to break the choke to even get to the flank route, and I don't like that. I like choice. I like the idea of having a decision to make. And I don't think this is even a perfect route. It's very far away from the team. You have to commit a lot of resources to make the full rotation, but it gives you the option, it gives you the choice, and it gives you an option as a defender as well. This also gives you another option. Do you want to take a high risk, high reward play and try fight for hotel? Go for it. I think that would just be a lot better. That's King's Row. Now, I'm not going to do every map. I just want to do some of the major ones that I think deserve a lot more attention and time. So I'm probably going to look at like one more just because this takes quite a while. But I wouldn't mind in future doing a full map breakdown of what I think would work. And now, am I qualified to say any of this? No, but as someone who plays a lot of the game, these are a lot of things that commonly feel like they should be there. And recent game design from the new team incorporates a lot of these elements, so it's more of the old maps lack a lot of this stuff. But I do want to look at, for the next one, I'm looking at Midtown, because I think Midtown is a garbage map. I think Midtown's really bad, especially first. So I want to look at Midtown, and Midtown's an Overwatch 2 map, so that contradicts what I said earlier, but it's an Overwatch 2, it's an initial Overwatch 2 map. Alright, first is awkward. First is awkward for both attack and defense. You can probably, you believe me on that, don't you? This feels weird to hold, it feels weird to attack. It is not fun. I think this one requires a lot more work than King's Row does, and King's Row needs just doorways, and that's about it. I think this needs like almost a whole remodeling done. I think train is inaccessible unless you use a sim TP, you Ryan and Lucio speed your way through it. But then the problem is the team comps that are good again through train don't want to go through train because they just expose themselves to this. Usually those brawlier comps would much rather take the smaller angles and fight their way through this way. But let's try to think about this. I haven't thought about Midtown that intently. I think this part of the map is fine, right? A decent flank route, you have to commit quite hard to it. It's quite easy to the pressure off, but it's also very useful. It's a decent spot. I don't think it's a perfect flank route, but it gives you the room access as well, and it can take you to this room on the left. But I think access to this is a frustrating thing because you kind of have to go to the choke and then go left. Aha, move this staircase over here. Just pick it up and go whoop, and just move it over. Just make it a straight line up to here. That's it. That's literally it. And then knock down this wall. Or make it an arch. You know what I mean? Make it another one of these. Like another little arch that way. So then you can kind of come here and use some of this natural terrain to block the sight line and easily get here, because you'd be able to come straight from here, which yeah, still exposes yourself. So maybe add a bit of cover or a little wall, something like that. But I just think it needs to be easier to get to here. It is currently quite stressful trying to get to that space. Train's funny, and I think train is a funny little thing, but I think it's difficult to really get right. You could, again, keep the staircase up to it, keep train as an option, but I would maybe like to see, this is going to sound really weird, in here, or like here, an elevator room, and I keep suggesting elevators, takes you like here, or like pops you out the end of the train. And I know it sounds weird, but I would like it in a way that it makes it possible to access this height area without having to take the high risk of the train, but also you can do this so easily that the risk of you're exposing yourself to everyone gets diminished a little bit by the fact that you had to you were able to do it so easily. And you kind of pop here and then go around here. I think it just gives another choice. I think that would require a lot of weird geometrical changes and a lot of just redesign of the map. But this map deserves it. I think deserves that time. I think second point is okay. And third is basically like just every generic map. But essentially rotate this, add a little doorway in here so you can access this easier. And then kind of crazy, but you know, add a little lift up to here that you can only access from that room. Essentially, that means if you push here, you could then fall back into train, and it's like there's a bit more of a choice, a bit more of a, you can do different things on this map. Because this is quite a long sightline. Even though it doesn't seem it, it's quite long. If you think about when you access this choke, it's from here. The only people that can really play at the effective range here are Ashe, Widow, Ana, and that's about it, really. So I think just add more options. And that's it. I think that's Midtown. Midtown and Kings Row are two big ones for me. And you can sort of apply this philosophy to any map. Go on to any map ever. You can do it yourself. And just kind of like look at the first point, zoom out a little bit, and you go, you kind of like realize where you want to be. I can't get my mouse out. You kind of realize there is good and there is good, but I can only go this way. So it's quite obvious on a lot of maps what to do. So I hope they put the time into map reworks.